And that's why I wanted to bring them together because so many Black mothers are going through this.
Whoa,
whether they know, whether they ignore it, whether
sense.
and you've been on this search, like trying to find help. But before we get there, tell your story of the signs you saw in your baby.
I should have known when he was inside.
right.
I said I should have known when he was inside. So he was in a daycare. My son has always been very active. He started walking at 7 months, crawling at like 3.5, 4. So very, very active. And he just does his own thing. He's a climber. He's fast. He's strong. And most people are like, oh, so is my kid. Until they see mine for 10 minutes. And they're like, whoa, he's fast. And I'm like, I tried to warn you. Or, usually people will be like, I can take care of a 2-year-old. It's fine. I'll help you out.
Yeah.
And then he'll be there for 10 minutes and the same thing every time. Wow, he's busy. Wow, he's strong.
So he's very brave.
Has zero fear.
Wow.
Really?
Anything.
I have opposite.
Kairo's the opposite.
Oh, no. He's scary.
Wow.
And I'll probably tell you why. Then I started noticing the eye contact. Now, the daycare he was at for about 1.5 years started now kind of like, it was just stupid little things or saying certain things. And I'm like, I just feel like they don't want him there anymore. So something happened with that daycare and which had nothing to do with behavior. No, it didn't have anything to do with this kind of behavior. It was just more like, play with your mama.
Right.
I took him out and I put him somewhere else. Now I'm at the second place and I'm like, let me find structure. It ended up being a very white daycare.
Yeah.
But it had like curriculums and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, perfect. Like this is going to get him and he's going to go to Harvard.
Yep.
And I paid all this money and within 2 weeks, they're sending me incident reports every hour almost.
Really?
And I had a call with them and I'm like, look, the other daycare told me to at least, or the speech therapist, because we knew he had a speech delay. So I was like, well, do you think he has autism? And the therapist would be like, I mean, I don't know, but it doesn't hurt to check. And I'm like, I guess it doesn't hurt to check.
Right.
So this new school, he's there and it's back to back 2 weeks. And I'm like, can you just give me a second? I'm trying to find a diagnosis. And that's when I ran into the problem of 18-month wait lists. I don't qualify for Medicaid. My struggle is a bit different than most people. And I don't qualify for any help from the state.
And why is that? Because the amount of money you make?
Yes.
Okay.
So my income is too high on any level to get any type of help. No Medicaid, no SSI, no CMR, or none of it. Things through the county, I don't qualify either through the school system. They're like, oh, it's income based. And I'm like, well, I have an insurance through the marketplace that's $600 a month.
Yeah.
That doesn't get covered for any of this. Behavioral therapy is totally different. And it's like, if it does, we have to go through all these channels. And not many people take that insurance. And I didn't know it was a shitty insurance because there was nothing like that we needed other than like basic and hospital and like senior doctor checkups and some specialists, of course, with copays. So I ended up having to, they were like, we can't do anything. Everyone's arms are tied until you have a diagnosis. And the wait lists were there and I had to fork up $2,000 cash.
How
I
was
had
your
to spend
experience with that?
$4,000.
To get
Because I wanted it within the next 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, I called at least
4,000.
15 places.
So that
Me
was like
too.
to rush it.
Yes. Like
Private.
you can expedite your way through the line. So
Or find a private psychologist because it's like a neurologist or a psychiatrist. It's not just a therapist that can diagnose them.
Yeah.
It's a very
Some
specific specialist doctor. So, and it's very detailed. It's like 17 pages. So my son was diagnosed with autism level 2.
How long was the process of, when they evaluated him? How long?
That day? About an hour and a half. When I tell you,
ours was about 4 hours.
You know when your kids get sick and you then go to the doctor and they stop sneezing or coughing and you're like, oh, now you all right?
Yeah.
I was scared that was going to...
No, that's
so
so
now you good, but you've been tripping at home this
Do
whole
all the
time.
stuff you do at the house.
Right. Because with me, he's cool. It's like this certain environment changes. That day, he showed his ass. And I said, thank you. It was really... Because I don't know anything about autism, but when I see my son, I know that something's different. But I also don't see an extreme. But I know that no one else can handle him. Then I'm like, well, I am his mom type of situation. Yeah. So I say it was an hour and a half because he showed his ass and there was a car and he kicking, hitting, almost started to hit his head. And I'm like, oh, he is upset.
Wow.
And it was because when he gets fixated on something, he saw a car, he wanted that toy, he didn't want to do anything else.
But
play with that car. And don't make me do anything else. So within an hour and a half, we were sweating.
And yours was
a question. Did you guys get any diagnosis with anything else?
So we got autism level 2, ADHD.
Yeah, I was going to ask you ADHD.
Which is where I think he leans the most. But we have ADHD and autism have a lot of similar side effects, traits. And then he also has a global language disorder, a speech delay, And there was a fifth one. They threw the books in my baby, but I was grateful for it because at the end of the day, a diagnosis for me is a way to get him help.
You can get him help.
And that doesn't mean that it's going to limit him in his life. It's like right now, for insurance purposes, for the way that this country works in the medical space, give it to me all.
Yeah, let me know. Let me know.
Throw it all in there and we'll figure it out later.
Right.
Yeah. I don't feel like I would ever make him feel or any of my kids to feel like, oh, something's wrong with you. You're just different. Because I'm different. I'm neurodivergent. So I kind of already, I see him as a visual representation of my brain.
What's the definition of neurodivergent?
Somebody neurodivergent is the opposite of neurotypical. So basically where you can do everything else for me is ADHD. Autism is also on the spectrum.
Okay.
We think different. We do things differently. We have sensory issues at times, loud noises. So we just kind of, our thought process, and I'm not an expert on it, but we just, it's so different.
For Cairo, what you said yours took an hour, his took 4 hours. Why do you think his took so long, and what was his process?
I honestly feel like it probably took more than yours because I don't know. I feel like every clinic is probably different.
For sure.
And it was like it was like a schedule almost. I felt like it was like we was going there to go to a job from 9 to 5, but we had to go to lunch. We left, came back. It was like a whole process, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the different clinics. Yeah. Did you go to like a private or?
Private.
Yeah, I went to like Atlanta's Children's Center. So,
oh, no. Mine was a very small private place with a few psychiatrists.
Okay, yeah. Mine was like a general.
Yeah.
What all was he diagnosed with?
Just autism.
Just
Did
autism.
They give you a level?
They didn't give me the level, what level of on the spectrum he's on.
Because there's 3 levels apparently, level 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, they didn't give me that. I don't recall.
And is that in the report? Maybe if you look at the long report.
Detailed.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 17 pages, but there's one page on there
and it gives you
that will tell you, because they said autism and there's like a longer word, something, whatever. And at the end, it says the level in parentheses.
I didn't even know it was 3 levels. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all are in, seems like 2 different stages.
A little bit, because yours probably has to go to school now.
Yes.
I'm still in early intervention.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's around kids and stuff every day. And is he in?
Yes, he's in actually
just like a class.
Real school.
Wow.
Yeah, he's at an elementary school right now. I am trying to put him in another program, but it's like a wait list. So right now we have like an aide following him throughout, just being there throughout his class.
Yeah.
But honestly, I feel like it's good for him.
Is it a school for autism, or does that school have a special needs?
So this is the thing. So right now he is in like a generic class. So he is getting evaluated. They give it like 20 days for him to get evaluated to be in special education.
Yeah.
That's what I'm scared for, special education. Because I feel like once they put him in those type of environments, he would start like
mimicking,
adapting to that.
Grabbing some behaviors from other, special needs. But I know it is what it is. I have to accept whatever they say. But honestly, I am looking to put him in another program that kind of gears to autism. And I think it's just a process right now. We're just
Do you get to choose, or the school chooses that?
The school
like
chooses
putting him in special ed.
No, the school does.
Got you. Got you.
Did you ever get him an IEP?
That's what we're working on now.
What's IEP?
It's like a plan. It's like an individual educational plan.
Yes.
Okay.
Like
so they have to evaluate him, and then they kind of go through like what their plan is, throughout the school system. The school year.
No, it's actually for his entire life. The IEP,
really?
They just told me that it expires, but you can just take it right back. Okay. And so it really doesn't expire. It carries him on through into adulthood.
Okay.
So, and they legally have to do. So once you have this IEP that says that they need this specific plan for them, they legally have to do that. If you need extra help with extra time with your tests, standardized testing, or extra help with your homework, or whatever they need to give you time, space, they have to provide that. So I just got an appointment for that. There was a wait list way longer than this. And I went on social media. And because of, that was right around when I started talking about it, like it made the reel. Because I would talk about it on my stories. I never put it somewhere where it was permanent.
Yeah.
And when I made it permanent, it was because I was running into all these walls and nothing was helping until I ended up getting a call from the one of the heads of the Florida Department of Education. Because everything is like all, and she's like, there is no wait list. I said, where? But at this place, and this lady with this email told me that I had to be on this wait list. She's like, what wait list? Like what wait? There is some time, but there is no wait list. You should be able to go right away. And apparently what I'm also finding out is that early intervention is the best thing you could do for them. So my IEP, I'll get it now before he goes to school. If I wait until he gets to the school system, it's up to the school system.
So early intervention is finding out as early as possible.
I wish I would have known that. I'm not aware.
Yeah.
And I think that's because we're so scared to find out that's something wrong with my kid. Like I put him in soccer. He's fast.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, let's run. Let's go. Like, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I paid for the entire season and I said, we did 3 practices.
You're like, we're done.
Yeah. Then I tried again the next season. We lasted 1.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not doing this with you. They're kicking over there and there's a water fountain half a mile away and that's what you're running to. You're not paying attention to the ball. He's like, put the foot on top. He kicks the shit out of it. I'm like, you're not listening. You're doing all these things. So I'm sometimes I'm like, am I ever going to get my boy that plays sports?
Yeah.
You know, and
that's what I ask all the time. Because I wanted to put my baby in like little, sports for boys.
Stuff,
But I was like, let me take it slow. I started looking up things that make sense for them. And then first it says martial arts. And I'm like, he's gonna beat the shit out of me.
What? He already does.
Right.
He gonna knock them kids
He comes in WWE style.
Yeah.
And I'm like, now I'm gonna teach him jujitsu? Fuck that.
So now I got him in like swim class, which he loves because he loves water.
Yes, they love water. That's something that's
water.
all across autism, which is why I was so scared. I told you I just bought a investment property across the street from my house because it has a pool. I don't want a pool on my property. They're so agile. They're quiet. You don't know when they're getting out, and you see a lot of drownings. With children with autism.
So just you're like, it's across the street. We can go over there anytime.
You can't. There's no door to get out of. Really, I mean, there is, but still, like, it's a lot safer.
So you being very like open on social media, you were the opposite. So take me through that, because obviously there's mothers listening to this that might be like, okay, more like Carla, but there are ones out there that probably
are like her.
Haven't told their family, haven't or still in denial, still haven't got their child diagnosed, like kind of running away from that. So take me through that a little bit so you can tell them how to get to this point, because I think this point is important. You go through the denial, you go through the grieving of this idea that you probably had of what a child should look like. This is your first baby. So you're like, this is my first child. And you have this idea of what motherhood looks like. And that totally shifts when you get this diagnosis. So take me through the beginning stages, when you found out and how you got to this point. Because I want mothers to get to this point where they can articulate their story. They cannot be ashamed of their story.
And they can accept it.
And can accept it.
Honestly, that's a good way to put it. It is it's stages for me. I know at one point, I just had a little baby. I was a new mom, super excited to be a mom. I was just like in tune with mommyhood. And I just knew I would have like this little boy, like a little rough, swagged out, being like very vocal and stuff. So I just was going through just everyday life. And then I kind of just started seeing like I used to see like little things that kind of bothered me. I would call his name. He wouldn't have any eye contact. He wouldn't even pay me no attention. Probably at one where there was supposed to be some type of responsive.
Got it.
So I would like call his name and I'm like, okay. Some things I just was like, okay, maybe I'm tripping.
He a baby.
Yeah, he a baby. He gonna grow up. He's probably learning at his own pace. So I went through that stage and I kind of was just trying to take it all in and just kind of figure out what it is. And like multiple people have came up to me like, have you ever thought about autism? And I'm like, how do you tell somebody that their son has autism?
Are these strangers? Are these friends? Are these family members?
At one point, it was like strangers.
Wow.
And then it was, I wouldn't say it was multiple people. Maybe it occurred like maybe twice.
Okay.
I feel like I was like at a birthday party and then the daycare. Well, I guess the daycare isn't really strangers. But
it still feels weird from a daycare.
It does.
Oh my God, you calling my baby stupid?
For sure.
Yeah. Stupid.
For sure.
Right.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then of course, like my mom, my mom was like, well, he's not hearing us. Let's go get his ear checked. So I just did these things privately because I'm like, I don't know.
Like, we're going to check everything but autism.
Yeah, right.
We're going to check these ears.
We're going to check these ears, his throat, everything. We need to make sure.
Maybe he got the flu.
Yeah, maybe we just got maybe some above his ear or something. I don't know.
Maybe he's an asshole.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to talk.
Right.
Yeah,
this is personality. He don't like us.
It's from the other side.
Right.
So we went through those stages where we was just trying to figure it out, just not really accepting autism.
Yeah.
And then, I just started doing a lot of research. And I didn't want to be so public about it because I wasn't 100% acceptive. Like I didn't accept it. I was very emotional. I was in a dark, dark space where at night I would cry like, why is my son not normal? Like, what did I do? Like, what? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm super healthy. I didn't have any issues during my pregnancy. I'm so not big on like medicine. I don't take any medicine. So I'm like, I used to figure out like, what could it have came from? Like, why is my son not normal? Out of all people, me. Like, I know God want me to be special and deal with this, but it's like, I wasn't patient. I was so on the go. Like I was doing things every day. I had stuff to do. Like I was like, dang, this is about to slow me all the way down. Like just to even deal or even navigate through this journey with a child that has a special need.
Yeah.
So then, of course, you know, we went through the daycare stage where, you know, that didn't really get anywhere. I feel like at that point, I was just overpaying them to just babysit him. Because I'm like, he's not learning anything.
For sure.
I'm over here putting things in his face. He's like not really paying attention to it. So I'm like, okay, let me figure this out. So then that's when I kind of like start figuring it out and trying to look for places to get this diagnosis. And then I was like, okay, I just got to pay for this. Huh?
Did you go to his pediatrician first?
Yes.
Okay.
So the pediatrician, she would say things too. Yeah, she would say like, yeah, you know, you probably do need to get him evaluated. But then that passed, we got the diagnosis. And then that's when I started like just trying to educate myself more on what this is. Because I'm like, you know, I'm not the only one going through this. It's like so many people or friends that I know, they're not even open. You know, when I came out, they was like, wow, you know, my baby has autism. I'm like, I had no
idea.
Yeah, I had no clue.
People that you know, like in your community.
It's like you're in like a cocoon, like, because you're trying to figure it out.
You don't really go anywhere with your kids.
Yeah.
Wow. You stay home.
Wow.
You stay at home. When I stay at home, I always was thinking like, I really wish I can travel with him and stuff. It was no way. I was so like scared because it would be times where we would be in public and he would like have a tantrum or he might stem and it's like he is in his moment. Stem is like when he move his hands or he, you know, like starts making sounds or flap his hands or
scream.
Yeah, whatever it is that makes him feel like
the
comfortable.
sensory.
Yeah,
okay.
He'll do those in public and I used to always be like, I'm sorry, he has autism. Like I used to always just apologize. And people was like, stop apologizing. Like, that's a child.